Hello and welcome to the Merle and Locke podcast. I'm Merle.
And I'm Locke.
Set sail and low expectations for everything nerd, accompanied by healthy, albeit shameful helping, of pointless banter, lack of focus, and questionably acquired knowledge. All right, so Locke, you have a topic for us today. Would you like to expand on what that may be?
All right, so this is a topic I've had written in my notes for quite some time. I don't remember what sparked the idea. It's one of those things where an idea pops into my head. I go, ooh, that'd be great. Usually something happens that sparks it, and then after the day is over, it's lost. I don't remember it anymore. But I will say, have you ever had a moment where, say, you're out with a group of people and you engage in a conversation with somebody, and after that conversation is over, you just kind of feel like mentally drained? It's just this energy about them that kind of drains it from you. You put everything you have into that conversation, and then you're left with nothing by the end of it.
Well, I guess it depends on, as far as like when you're engaging in conversation with somebody, you usually want to like match their energy, yeah.
Right.
And so you want to be empathetic towards them, and you want to meet them on their terms because they initiated the conversation. So there is admittedly certain. I guess there have been like certain occasions for me personally where, like if I'm talking to someone, I guess there has been numerous occasions where I've been talking to like a guy or something, right? Or like one of those, one of those dudes that can't think of anything else other than like sex, status, and money, right? So one of those guys, and
Right.
and like meeting them on those terms is first of all, it's like completely uninteresting to me. Like, well, I mean, not completely. I mean, yes, we all have like certain aspirations or something of like achieving any one of those things, but it's not something that I actively pursue like on a daily basis, yeah.
Right.
And so having to have a conversation about that, about those very simplistic things is admittedly tiring. So I can think of one guy that he was talking about sex, especially. Like, he's like, oh dude, I hooked up with this one chick, like here's a picture of her, she sent me some nudies or something like that. I'm like, oh man, yeah, cool, yeah, no, well, I'm like in my mind I was like, all right, guy, like, oh, whatever, like,
You're really
not
gonna
like
share this
yeah,
with some guy?
it was weird. It was awkward, but I was trying to be supportive, and keep. I don't know why I like it's some kind of. I don't know why I feel like some kind of moral obligation to humor someone when they're trying to engage in conversation with me, even though it's something that I have no interest in talking about. But yeah, I would match the energy, and I'd be supportive. I'd be like, "Oh, what? No way, dude!" Like, just trying to get on his level, right? And stuff like that. It's yeah. By the end of it, I'm just like, God, I need to get away from this guy, and like actually have like good conversation elsewhere to make up for it, and try to re-energize myself, I suppose. So yeah, like I know what you mean, where like because like before we started, you were talking about not it didn't pertain or necessarily pertain to like a like a social battery or something, but it was, trying to match an energy and then feeling like you didn't have enough of that energy to put into it,
Right.
so that you feel tired afterwards.
Yeah.
But I totally have experienced that. Do you have any examples yourself?
I'm trying to recall of some moments, like just these strange interactions that I try to match people's energy, like you had said. It's really the gist of it all is you and I are both the type of people that you come up, you approach us with a certain energy, and we try to almost match it so that we're on the same level. Get a feel for their vibe and then try to match it accordingly. But there are just certain vibes that people put out there that were, after so much exposure, we're like, I can't do this anymore. I gotta step away for a moment. Which, with those type of people, it's almost best to have somebody else who's able to kind of counterbalance and really level out the overall energy in the room.
It is nice, but the only thing that prevents that, in my experience, is sometimes you get one of those people with that energy that I was speaking to before, was the sex, money, status conversation, where the people that always come up like that, talk like that, are the ones who try to dominate the group, or like whoever's speaking in the group with one another. They always try to dominate and challenge everyone else, right?
Right.
And then that's something that I personally feel awkward about. Like it's like they set the standard for the conversation, right? Where they'll say to one of the people in the group, like, yeah, what kind of car do you drive, right? And they're like, oh, I drive this crappy little Volkswagen or something like that. And then he goes, yeah, well, look at my car. It's a Mercedes or something like that. And like I'm better than you. Why do you drive such a crappy car? It's like, I don't know, maybe because I don't care what people think about me. And I mean, I'd rather have money in the bank than just this flashy car that I can't afford, but I mean, we can't talk sensibly to these people because they've already set the standard, and
Right.
so they put everybody else on the back foot, where they have to defend their, not necessarily defend their position, but defend their manhood in a way. I mean, that, it's like they set the standard for our place in society, or our place as, I know I said manhood, so it's like our place as a man. Like, what now they're challenging the fact that we're not a real man, and now we have to defend it with something else, right? So we need to take some kind of other opportunity to prove ourselves to this person, so that they believe that we're, in a good standing as far as this manhood meter, right?
Right.
And the conversation goes on like that, where they're belittling everyone else around them to make them give them some sense of self-import, and everyone else is below them in the group. And everybody else is trying to defend themselves to this person that none of us probably even give a crap about, right? And all of us probably hate. But he set the standard for the conversation in that current setting. So now we need to, it's like, it pulls you in, right? And I hate it. I absolutely hate it when people do that. And it gets me to the point where there's often been times where I've often like taken the piss, right? So instead of defending myself, I start defending other people,
Right.
and trying to undermine the objective of the person that's trying to dominate the conversation. But yeah, like situations like that where like they happen a lot, right? Like surely it happens for like women too. I'm not particularly certain as to what those things are in particular. I mean, if anybody would like to expand on it, feel free to leave it in the comments and give us some clue as to what it may be. But for men, it's usually having to do with how many women you've slept with, or like how nice a car you have, or sometimes like your property, or like how many vehicles you have in general. It's usually something to that effect, something, superficial, materialistic, something, in my opinion, stupid. But but that's usually where the conversations go with these people. So if you're a woman, I would love to hear your thoughts, or like what things women usually like use as a tool to dominate the conversation, or to uplift themselves, to belittle everyone else around them and set that standard before the conversation even begins. That's like I feel like that's the most severe as far as energy draining conversations go, or energy draining people go. Is there anything that you have as an example to like maybe it's on the other end, right? Like what do you find is like the most positive energy, or maybe something that falls like in the mid ground, which isn't necessarily completely draining, but it's not empowering either, or
I feel when the conversation is on something mutual, like something that you both have show an interest in, then that's when you both kind of can get that nice level energy, because you're both on the same page, right? But as you were saying, with somebody who wants to talk about sex, drugs, rock and roll, and women,
right.
You're like, I don't have that interest, so this is going to be more exhausting for me than it is for you. And some people might be able to read into it. That's if they're the type of person who reads into the energy. Like, if I notice that somebody's not interested in a certain conversation, I just might drop it and move on from there, or go about my merry old way. Make it super awkward and just walk off and not say a word.
Oh man, no, there has been stuff like that before, where I've tried to strike up like not conversation in general, but like try to verge off the current topic onto a rant that I would like to go on, and I can usually tell within like the first statement that I make how many people are on board or not. Some people are a little bit more upfront about it than others. Like we have this one friend, Sugar Lips, yeah, who he whenever you try to go off into a certain topic of conversation, he'll usually be the one to just be like, yeah, sure, I believe you. Like it doesn't, like you could say anything, right? And he'll be like, yeah, sure, I believe you. And that's like, it's instantaneous, like, okay, well, All right, we won't go down that road then. Which is something that I appreciate about him, where he's just like
Uh,
totally upfront, where he's like I have no idea like anything about that subject, and I'm gonna make it clear right now that it's not gonna be the conversation that you want, and I love
yeah.
that. I
Oh,
love that.
okay. Well, so it's just me. All right.
Yep, just me.
Yeah.
I myself, I'm not that, I don't, I'm not that upfront myself, unfortunately. I mean, sometimes like I wish, like I strive. No, I don't strive. I just simply wish that I could be like that. But it feels, for some reason, it feels bad, like, I give my absolute most I can to this person just so they don't feel like I don't appreciate what they have to say. I mean, and it's not even that. It's just that if you don't have anything that you're able to necessarily contribute to the conversation, then why waste that person's time? If you can't add anything to it, and if you have no interest in it, then you're obviously, I guess, being fake in a way, you know, like because you're acting like you actually are invested in it, but you're not. And I mean, it's not that you're trying to be, or that I'm trying to be fake. It's just that I'm trying to ensure that your opinion or your interest is valid. I'm trying to give you validation, and it's a people pleasing thing, I suppose. And people pleasing is very exhausting.
Yeah, I also say us growing up the way I know the way that I did, there are just certain things where it's a survival mechanism. You try to please somebody just that there's no quarrel. So
Right. Yeah, I get you.
yeah, so that the target isn't on your back. You're like, yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah, I could definitely see like the survival, how that would come into it. Like especially like if you're in a group setting, right, and you're in this group of people that are having this conversation. It's not like it's like a social survival thing where like you don't want to be the outcast in the conversation, so you try to participate and just beg in your mind that the whatever pressures won't be put upon you for like maybe a question or an opinion on this certain topic that you have no knowledge or interest in. And so like it's kind of like being very very passive about it, so that you don't become the target of the conversation, right? So you give these, I guess, like nonchalant or passive answers that kind of deflect onto other people in the social setting, in order to not feel left out, but still feel like you're a part of it. I don't know. It's a weird
yeah.
it's a weird view. I can't really pinpoint it necessarily.
I've had people call me out for trying to be just kind of passive about it and letting them talk, and they might be like, "You don't really care about this, do you?" And I'll be like, "Oh, oh, it's not that I don't care about it. uh, just you almost have to come up with something to say now, because that person is now trying to come at you for no reason at all. It's not that you did anything, but they're like, well, that's the problem. You're not doing anything. Well, jeez.
Yeah, it's like it's like this thing. It learns you. It learns you.
It learns
It
you.
teaches
Yeah.
you. It learns you. No, like I feel like engaging in that kind of conversation. It like you definitely have to have your wits about you. It's not like that. We don't. care and we're just trying to, you know, not thrive but survive in the conversation. It's that we're trying to keep it going for your sake. Yeah, so like and having like you have to have your wits about you so that they don't think that they're being off-putting. So I've found on numerous occasions where they'll be talking about something that I have no knowledge in or interest, and they ask me a question, or like naturally the conversation passes off the ball to me, and I have to take that moment to rephrase or construct the topic in a way that I ask them a question about it that doesn't make me seem unknowledgeable, but it'll be enough that I can pass it back off to them so that they can continue ranting about it.
Right.
You know? So I can instantly get the pressure off of me, but I'm contributing so that they think I'm interested. But I'll continue to let the knowledgeable person speak, you know.
Right.
I don't know. It's like it's a weird social science, I suppose. Trying to survive in those moments.
Well, that's just it, right? So we try to let people vent it out, get it off of their chest. I mean, everybody needs to let loose just a little bit. Now, some people they vent it out, but they want to continue venting out, and at that point is when it becomes exhausting. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, because naturally conversations, they evolve, right? So you're waiting for that step of evolution, like something to latch on to expand the conversation in a direction that you can thrive.
Right.
And yeah, it makes it difficult when you're talking to someone that's so persistent. You know, they're very persistent in like what they're passionate about, and they keep trying to drag the conversation back into that, like whatever that may be. And those are the most difficult situations to keep up with.
I'd say at that point you should both realize we don't really have any common interest, and we should just move about our way. But some people, you might get your few who are so insistent upon them just thriving in this conversation alone, and you being there to just watch and listen.
So that's a normal conversation. I feel like it's it's definitely the case with those people that we were talking about earlier, the ones that try to dominate the conversation, because those people, they just love to hear themselves talk. But in that sense, those people aren't looking for conversation. They're just looking to, get everything off their chest, belittle everyone, and, uplift themselves. So those conversations aren't necessarily difficult if we consider the way in which we construct a conversation with someone. It's more just, it's more of a grind, I suppose, like a mindless, thoughtless, sit there and take it type of conversation. Whereas, normal conversation is what I was speaking to in depth with the whole constructing it, because, those people aren't necessarily just wanting to hear themselves talk. They just want somebody else's opinion on their interests. Yeah. I think we drove that into the ground.
No, absolutely. I think we put the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I think. Thank you for joining us on the Merle and Locke podcast. If you enjoyed this banter, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/merleandlocke or simply follow the link in the description. Thank you.